Oh, he leaves the picture up. Of course he does. Of course he does. Hold on, I gotta find it. Oh, son of a bitch. Which one is it? Is it this one? Oh, here we go. How we doing? Good evening. Oh, Jesus Christ, it's at the microphone. Look good, sound good, all good. Yep. Let me I adjusted my setup from this morning and now I'm kind of putting it back together with a little bit half-assed. Hold on one second. Well, I wanted to confirm that we have access. Oh, son of a bitch. How funny is it that I get a corp text as soon as we pop up? Somebody wants to see something tomorrow morning, and tomorrow morning is swamped. Yeah, I'm gonna answer it later. Okay. Anyways, how we doing? Careful with the pictures you accidentally share. No, it's okay. They're all pre-selected. But thank you, Richie, for looking out. You are a little blurry. Really? Now it's focused. Oh, okay. Sorry. Maybe I moved in a little bit. Shout out to the guy who chirped me on my Caleb Williams take and said I have a 9 head. He's not wrong. And then the other guy said 5 head. So I appreciate that. That was nice of him. Okay, so we are going to dive into the Sweet 16 again with mid-major. I did send him the link, although last time he ran late, I thought I sent him the link and it didn't go through. So I should probably make sure it did. Okay, awesome. It did. So on that note, I wanted to mention that we are going to be talking about baseball tomorrow. Big stream. I tweeted it. Got Gate 14 guys coming on. Johnny and Avery to talk Blue Jays and AL East. I want to bet on the Blue Jays. I like betting on the Blue Jays, even though I'm a Rays fan and I don't like the Blue Jays. Javon coming on 11, Pete coming on 11:30. I know they're running a space right now. I was just tuning into that, talking about season-long entries. I loved what I'm hearing about Pete Alonso because the Degenerate family is going to be backing the Mets this year. We are also, I think Greg is working on the newsletter right now, the degenerateweekly.com. Subscribe to the newsletter there for free. Some people do pay. It's very nice of you. Thank you very much. I've also reached out to Cama's Money and Ollie for their best bets. They can't come on stream. Phil's is going to be on Thursday. Looking forward to that. But in the meantime, that'll be baseball tomorrow. In the meantime, we do have some March Madness to talk about. So I got mid-major coming on now. And then we've got Ian McMillan, who I went to the game with on Friday. Great dude. He's going to be coming on Thursday, day of, to talk his best bets. Oh, Matt's ready to roll. How we doing? Good to see you, Matt. Nice shades.
I appreciate it. It's 70 and sunny here, man. I appreciate it. I gotta enjoy California.
I have a weird feeling you know what the weather's like in New York as you say that.
I do not. I saw what you got to tell me.
Well, it's not actually not terrible. It's been really bad though. I mean, it was feels like 20 degrees the last couple days.
I was gonna guess lower because when you guys went to the game on Sunday, I think with Greg, he was all bundled up, so he looked very cozy in his big old jacket.
Yeah, and we had a buddy, this guy Alex, come with steak from Florida, and I told him it was going to be very cold, and for whatever reason, he didn't fully believe me, and he just brought a cardigan. So he was walking around the streets of Brooklyn, 35 degrees in a cardigan. And I thought it was hilarious.
To be fair, I've never been to New York. I've been to New York once. It was in the summer. Does Florida get really cold? Because California doesn't. So it's not like New York cold.
Florida can. Yeah, there's a couple weeks in February where it gets cold. I remember in high school I had my windshield, you get the sprinklers hit it and then it froze and it was ice and my windshield wipers didn't work. So I had to drive with my head out the window to school like Ace Ventura. It was very funny. Nice. Damn, I missed the memo. Cornfields, I asked you a million times. You said, I don't know that you gave me an answer, although I can get you on Thursday if you're still willing to come on. We'll talk about it in the DMs. Baseball fits your steam pace, slow and boring. Like that, ASMW chirp. Gonzaga and Creighton are going to bark in the Midwest, chalk everywhere else. All right, on that note, Matt, let's talk some ball. I don't know how your weekend was. Mine was not great. I saw a lot of people on Twitter. Looks like they got banged up. Guys outside of Twitter that I know did not do very well, depending on your unit sizes. Maybe you went all in on a few plays. But I feel like after getting my eyes on some teams, getting a read on a few of the teams, I'm gonna press some buttons. I don't know that I'm gonna bet every game, but I feel like I've got a pretty strong lean on every game. And I feel like, I don't know this for certain, but I feel like you and I might disagree on a few. So I'm looking forward to getting into it. And on that note, I feel like we should do that. So wait, what the hell is this? Oh, I pulled up. Am I glitchy, by the way? Is my screen glitchy?
Not to me. You look good. You're smooth.
Okay, great. I was just looking at the NIT and the CBI tonight. Do you have any plays in those games, by the way?
Yeah, so it upset me, but I know exactly why. But I have High Point to win the tournament at 8-1 odds before the tournament, and the only thing I saw you post about High Point was you commented you're a pussy for not fading High Point tonight.
I said soft. I didn't say you're a pussy. I said soft.
I read pussy. Sorry, that's on me. So yeah, but I also have Seattle. So those two are the favorites tonight, and I'll hopefully meet tomorrow. I have Seattle at 10-1. I have High Point at 8-1. So hopefully I cash that.
Wow. Well, yeah, I like, if I'm just looking at the board, I like Seattle, and then the contrarian in me would just fade High Point. But you know what? Yeah. After the weekend of chalk, I'm just going to stay off.
Yeah, that's honestly because Bats and I talked quite a bit, and he asked me about Indiana State, and because that line looks really short too. Being a public darling at Indiana State. Did you see that line?
Oh yeah, I mean Cincinnati was looking at me funny for sure. But
yeah, because don't forget, I mean they're playing Indiana in Indiana's home court, and it's at 3.5 the way they've been playing. Mm-hmm. But I just replied, maybe they're fucking pissed off, and maybe they prove a point to the committee for being left out of this tournament.
Who did you say asked you that?
The Sycamores tonight against Cincinnati.
No. You said somebody asked you about Indiana State?
Bats gambling.
Oh, Bats. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling the urge to get gross and disgusting on a Tuesday night with what we've got coming up, especially after how the weekend just was. No ice review. I'm sorry. I know there's 12 games. I did look at the board. I saw some 3 games. I'll tell you what my leans are when we wrap it up. Okay, so let's get into Thursday. I also just think it's absolutely fucking insane that 2 of the games tip off after 9:39 p.m. Eastern Standard
That Sunday schedule was fucked, dude. It was so bad.
Oh my god. Anyways, I digress. Let's talk about it. So first up on the board, Thursday, 7:09 p.m., Clemson and Arizona. I believe you and I both have Arizona to win the tournament. Is that correct?
That is correct. I also, I'll transparently, the Arizona was boosted to make the Sweet 16. They were boosted to make the Final 8. They were boosted to make the Final 4. I have every single one of those boosts. I cashed my Sweet 16 ticket. My next one up is my Sweet 8 or my Elite 8 ticket. Yep. And again, it was plus money. It was even money for the Sweet 16. It's plus money for the Elite 8 and then minus 7.5 point favorites. So I'm not going to bet this game, but I do think I'm heavily invested in Arizona. I bought the wagon. I bought in. I hitched a ride. So here I am.
I love to hear that. And there are times when, obviously with most of how contrarians bet, it's an auto fade on a boost because it's like, the books are making it more appealing. They think the idiots are going to take it and lose their money and the books are going to cash. But you were DMing me, and I don't think we talked about this last week when we did this, but you had some very, very good points on why Arizona might be boosted. I agreed with you. I did not take any of those. I'm just riding the natty ticket. But playing Clemson, 7.5 point favorites is what I'm seeing. I had a weird feeling about this Clemson team. I actually did not bet them. I wrote in the newsletter I would take them as a sprinkle to make it out of this region. I think I forgot what the odds were to take the Sweet 16. I advised it. I think it was like +4 or something. Because they were really, everybody was against them in round 1 against New Mexico. Everybody was loving the Lobos.
And we talked about it. I think we kind of talked each other off of it.
Yep. I respected everybody on New Mexico. They know way more ball than me. I didn't know anything about New Mexico. All I knew was about Clemson because I'd gotten involved with them a handful of times. And for the most part, they burned me. So I didn't have enjoyable experiences with them.
Right. As did most of the betting public.
Yes.
Which is better,
right. Right. So, but I did feel like I felt like if they were to play their game, that they would be a little bit of a problem. Stayed off in that first round game, and that's really all I had to see to lean into them. At least, thank God, it was one of the bets I had on this weekend was Clemson money line against Baylor. So, and I did in a weird way kind of fear Baylor, but not to the point where I didn't want to press the button with Clemson. So now here they are playing our darling Arizona. But you know what?
7.5 point darling.
Yeah, right, exactly. But in this going into this round, everybody is going to still be salivating for some dogs to cash.
Absolutely.
I think people are going to love Clemson, and rightfully so. I think you have a legitimate reason to like Clemson, to want to take Clemson. I still think Arizona is not really that respected or feared by most people. I watched Arizona. I really was about to bitch up a storm in that first half against Long Beach State. Caleb Love at times, I think he is a superstar. And then at times, I think he is like an AAU selfish ball hog. And when the ball leaves his hand, when he takes a three, it looks like it hits the back of the rim so hard. I think it's going to bounce another zip code.
It either hits the back of the rim or just banks in. There's just no in between.
There's no in between. And I mean, I had that fucking over where they just I needed 10 points in 4 minutes.
Dude, they didn't try at all in the final 5 minutes.
You had a good point. They were saving it up for the next round, which I loved. So here's the thing with Arizona. I still, as someone who, I know people hate when I say this, I'm already invested. I would, if I liked Clemson enough in this game, I would push the button. In a way, you could look at it as a middle. Like, oh, you've got the team to continue, but you have a big enough cushion. It's not like a 2.5 point spread.
Exactly.
But I got to tell you, I'm not there. I don't know how you feel about this game. I don't really have a read on the total. I would assume the over is going to be very trendy. 151.5 is what I'm seeing. 60% of the bet, 66% of the money on the over. Haven't taken a look at the line movement. This is probably the one play or the one game I don't have a play on. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. So very similar mindset on Clemson is I didn't bet them, but I was able to talk a lot of my friends off of New Mexico, off of Clemson, I'm sorry, versus New Mexico. Because that was, even when we did this show with Steak on the kind of reaction to the bracket, I liked New Mexico quite a bit because of the guard advantage. But as I was kind of salivated, throughout the week, the guard advantage, the athleticism of New Mexico didn't outweigh the experience that Clemson had and the lack of size they had on the inside, which Clemson just ate them up inside and did whatever they want inside the paint. Same thing against Baylor. I know Baylor, they're a very young team. They're super fucking athletic. They have a lot of talent on their roster offensively. They're very poor defensively. They don't have any structure, like sound defensive guys. And that was why I took Clemson. I also took the under, but Clemson was the much better bet by far. But if you watch the game against Clemson, which I don't know if you did, against Baylor, I should say, they kind of crumbled. They fouled a guy with, I think, a minute left, up by 2. So the guy they were in the double bonus. So the guy could have tied the game. Luckily, the Baylor kid fucking sucks ass.
I was sitting next to Steak at the game at Barclays, and Steak was giving me updates. It was 66-64.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God. I'm
idiot
cursed.
Fucking fouled on Clemson. I don't know how or what inclined him to do that. Maybe he obviously fucked up, but that they really broke down mentally at the end of that game. And for an experienced team like that, with the smart guards that they have there, I didn't love the way they closed that game out. And if you want to talk about Baylor's respect, Scott Drew won the national championship. He's been pretty bad. He hasn't gotten out of the round of 32 in the past. I think 4 to 5 times he's been in the tournament. So, the market's a little overvaluing him as well. So I think beating Baylor is it's going to get Clemson a little too much respect. And something else I want to touch on with you, which I want to pick your brain about. I don't know how much CBB talk you listen to throughout the week, but I listen to quite a bit, especially this time of year. All anybody is talking about is that the ACC was disrespected coming into the tournament. And that's clear because I'm not going to fucking take Virginia as a part of this conversation because they don't count. They're undefeated in the tournament so far with 4 teams. I think NC State's won twice as a dog. Duke has looked phenomenal, both of their opponents. NC State's blown out both of their opponents. Whom Clemson has both won twice as a dog. All anyone's talking about now is how ACC has been disrespected and other conferences are being overvalued. And now I think that is it's going to naturally regress to the mean. The ACC was not that good. The ACC played a lot of shit competition, which just was themselves. And I think that Zona it's again another terrible matchup for them. Ballo can they can handle what PJ Hall is going to throw at him inside, which is kind of how they run their offense. They run 2 experienced guards, but they want to play through PJ Hall. And Omar Ballo, he is a monster, 7 foot, 270 pounds. With that said, he doesn't move very well. And if I tell you that, how many games out of 32 this year do you think he's fouled out of? 7 foot, 260, doesn't move very well.
2.
0.
He hasn't fouled out. Wow, I was just going to say that's a problem. The foul trouble
he averages more than 20, 25 minutes a game, doesn't foul out ever. So he's very smart defensively. But also, he's only accumulated or amassed 4 fouls in 4 games. So he just is a very smart player. And his biggest issue is when teams, if you saw, go ahead.
Where's he from?
Oh fuck!
Did he transfer?
No, he's from out of the country. He's not.
Oh, then never mind. I thought he was
yeah.
at a different school before.
No. Yeah, he's
okay.
He's just,
sorry, continue.
No, but were you at the? No, you weren't at the Zona game. But
No.
did you were watching it at all?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
So DaRon Holmes was doing whatever he wanted offensively.
Mm-hmm.
Would you agree? On the pick and roll, when they got him high up with, I think Brea was the Dayton guard. No one just could keep up with him.
Well, he got in foul trouble. Is he 16? He's the guard with like Holmes. Is that who that is?
No, Holmes is the center. He's like the 6'10" guy.
Oh, then never mind. Never mind.
Yeah. You're thinking of Boswell for Arizona.
That's who I'm thinking of.
0 points, 3 fouls in the first half.
Yeah. He got in foul trouble. That was not good.
Yeah. And they still covered.
I know. Right.
Anyways, but DaRon Holmes, his game is the exact opposite of PJ Hall. PJ Hall wants to sit inside and he just wants to camp out inside. That's what Ballo does defensively. So I think Hall has a really tough time just moving the ball offensively. And the Zona guards, they're also very experienced. They're as experienced as Clemson is, but they're also just more athletic. And I think it just shows its face. I know they're probably not better coached. Tommy Lloyd's not a great coach by any means, but the Clemson coach has been on the hot seat for the past couple of years because he's not done shit with his program. They're overperforming so far in this tournament, and I think it shows its head. And getting 7.5 points against a Zona team who covered the opening 19.5 against Long Beach, who did not cover the 20 or the 20.5, which the spread got juiced to, against Long Beach State because they just decided to stop playing. And then they never were going to lose the game, in my opinion, against Dayton, but they let it get close. They get 2 or 3 points for a little while in the second half, and they only covered by, I think, a point and a half, depending on what number you got. So they've not been dominating anybody, and they get 7.5 points with a team that's been an outright dog the first 2 wins in a conference now everyone's been saying is being overvalued or not respected enough. It's Zona for me. If I'm not invested in them already, if I wasn't, I would play them here.
So I'm curious what your thoughts might be on this.
Yeah.
The total, I'm wondering, I took an Arizona over, as you mentioned, because I think you were sweating it for me. Where they
over?
I did that in the first game. Or no, that was what did
Long Beach.
I needed 91. They ended with 85. That's what it was. Did I take the over in Dayton? I think I took the over in Dayton too.
Okay.
And that was 4 or 5 points short. And I'm wondering if I'm just falling into these traps because Arizona is a flashy, high-scoring team. And in retrospect, that's where I'm like, I'm a fucking idiot. Now I'm looking at this total. It's 150.5 up to 151.5. And I'm wondering what you're saying. One of the takeaways that I'm thinking is Clemson might not have a great offensive day.
I don't think so whatsoever. What's funny enough is when from the surface, Arizona can score 90 whenever they want, but they've been playing a very slow pace, and they actually have the best defensive metrics in this bracket so far in this tournament. I know they played Dayton, which is not a super explosive offensive team, and Long Beach State, of course. Mm-hmm. But what they're doing is they're playing a slower pace, and they're just taking advantage they're taking advantages in the ways that they can. They're not just running up the floor and taking 50 shots, every quarter or every half, I should say. They're playing good ball. They're playing slow. They're playing methodical, and their defense is absolutely being underrated for sure.
Okay. Well, I like what you're saying. I'm going to sidewise. I'm just going to ride Arizona. It's going to be hard for me not to get down on Clemson team total under. So I like that. It sounds like you might press the button on Arizona.
I might, if I was actually, you were going to say it. You said it. I might play Clemson team total under because they scored 77, then they scored 70 something against Baylor, and now it'll be 70 something juice to the under. I know it. I haven't looked at it yet.
And that 70 something against Baylor was totally
it's free throw bullshit. It's free throw merchant shit.
Yeah, you're right. They crumbled. They went cold. They had they were in 64, 66 territory for minutes
until they were forced to the free throw line. Yep. So the box score is misleading bettors, so I would be on the same headspace as you.
Okay, so next game is one I'm very interested to talk about because I think this is where we might differ, and you might talk me off of this one. San Diego State and UConn. So UConn is 10.5. Let's see. They are, what does Action have them at? Action is showing 9.5 up to 11 or 10.5 at some places. Look, I mentioned this to you. San Diego State, when I was watching them, I was at the bar. We left what was the late game? We left the UConn game early because it was such a
the Northwestern shit. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so bad. And there were 2 other games that we wanted to watch, Bama and fucking San Diego State, whatever. Yep. Yeah. So we're watching San Diego State. I had the first half under, and I could not believe how well they were shooting. Granted, some of their looks were wide open, but this San Diego State team is one that I followed very closely last season.
Yeah.
And thankfully profited on. But one of the things that made me want to pull my hair out of my head was how bad their offense was. I mean, getting them to make a 3 was almost impossible. Everything they got felt like it was down low with Ledee or the other big guy. I don't know if he transferred, or they're drawing fouls and getting free throws. I could not believe. I think I heard something. They made double-digit threes.
14 of 28.
What's that?
14 of 28, which is for San Diego State. It's unreal.
I think that's the most amount of threes they've made all season or something like that.
Yeah, so 14 is the same as the accumulation they made in every other game this season. It's the same number.
This is crazy. So here's what my takeaway is in this game. I think UConn is going to win the national championship. At the same time, I need, what is Chelgod saying? I need to know about this chicken. I don't have time for it right now because I just realized that my laptop battery is at 27%. So if we have any battery at the end, Chelly, we'll address the chicken situation.
Hi, Chelly.
So I think that San Diego State can hang in there with UConn. And I honestly think it has nothing to do with UConn necessarily because I think UConn is really that good. Mm-hmm. But I also can't ignore the fact that, like, there is a part of me, there's always going to be a part of me that knows that 25% of people in their brackets picked UConn to win. And maybe everybody just tends to get fucked. Maybe somebody can knock them off. And wouldn't it be funny if it's the team where, let's be honest, nobody thinks San Diego State is winning this game. Nobody. Yeah. So I'm not even kidding. You could ask 100 people. I'd be shocked if one said they could. Now, I'm not going to go as far as to say San Diego State's going to win. The other thing that makes me terrified of wanting to bet San Diego State is when I watched UConn dominate Northwestern. They actually were did not have a great shooting night. They were missing all their threes, all their jumpers, everything they got in the paint. Klingon was a monster. And I feel like everything they were getting were layups. So I would be terrified to fade UConn after they did what they did on a bad shooting night because how many times are they going to have back-to-back bad shooting games?
Right.
But if San Diego State is making their shots, you have the rematch revenge angle, which I'm not going to lean too much into. But I have to tell you, I lean San Diego State here, or I lean that San Diego State offense doesn't disappear. I don't think it was a fluke. And that UConn offense bounces back. They've seen each other before. And I feel like it might be pretty contrarian to take this over. Then I look at the splits, and that tells me I'm totally wrong. 85% of the bet, 77% of the money's on that over. So I'm just going to get off of that. Okay. And I'm probably going to lay it with San Diego State. Now tell me why that's a bad bet, because I feel like you're going to tell me that's a bad bet.
Oh, well, first off, I don't know if you want to talk about it for too long, but I would have said the under was probably the contrarian play.
Yeah, well, no, we can talk about it. I'm shocked because San Diego State is known for having a good defense and not a very good offense. And I guess on that note, though,
I think it's more so just what have you done for me lately crowd. They just scored not 80-something points against Yale.
But UConn also held Northwestern to 58 points and Stetson to 52 points.
Don't talk about Stetson. I mean,
fine.
Let's not the conversation. At the same time, though, let's put a little bit of context. They did Northwestern 58 points. Somehow they scored 40 in the second half, which was pretty impressive, to be fair. They kind of got close to covering.
Yeah, you're right.
But also, Boo Buie had like 4 points. So everyone but the guy who averages 20 points, and they still scored 58. I don't know if the under is the right side, but the national championship last year, if you remember, it actually went over by half a point, even though San Diego State went scoreless for like 7 minutes. Because that's just how efficient UConn was on offense. But my issue is, so my issue is with the UConn offense. They're not as Jordan Hawkins. They ran through Jordan Hawkins and Sanogo last year, which they don't have this year. They still have really athletic guards and wings, but San Diego State can match up with them defensively and physically. The only issue is Klingon. But if you're telling me if Klingon scores 30 and this game goes over, that's the only way the game goes over, I'll take it. Because San Diego's best offensive guy is Ladie, but he scores inside. And against Klingon, it's going to be a battle. I think these teams beat up each other, like just beat the fuck out of each other, just physically. And I think it goes under. That would be my initial lean. If I was to play a side, it would be UConn, without a doubt, honestly. They got close. I don't think anyone's respecting that Stetson game. It was just a fucking game that nobody cares about, honestly. But against Northwestern, they just did not look good. They were up by 30 at half. But what I do love is the crazy eyes that you referred to with Hurley. He was pissed off at his guys for letting some of those defensive lapses come through. He was still coaching them up by 30. That's something I like. The San Diego State guy, the coach, he didn't have much to coach last game. Whereas Hurley is going to have issues with some of the defensive lapses he had from a 20-point victory. That's a coach that I want to back. That's a team that I want to back. But I do think San Diego can beat them up physically, defensively. I still don't think they can score. I think that narrative is being overblown that all of a sudden they can shoot. They can't really shoot. They shot against Yale, who was an up-tempo team. UConn is not that. UConn is super fucking slow pace, and I think the limited possessions just really, seeing three guys brick after each other, one after another, it doesn't give anybody any confidence, and I think it goes under pretty comfortably.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Well, that's why I like having these conversations, because I'm off. I thought, you look at UConn, their last 3 games have gone under. I'm sorry.
Stetson went over by like a garbage free throw, a technical free throw or some shit.
Really? Oh, well, it said I guess it closed 146. The last 2 or 3 in San Diego State went under. But I'm looking at the totals that San Diego State gets, and they've had 141, 144, 138.5. So in their offense has been decent. No, they scored 69 against UAB, 61 against.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm off that. Thank you very much. Jay, did we talk about Bama already? No, we have not. But that's the next game, and I'm really interested to talk about this. So far, what we've taken away. Just a quick recap. We have you like Arizona. I like Clemson team total under. We might collab on it. We'll make a sweet graphic. And you like the under in the UConn game? Is that your favorite bet in that game?
Yes, as of now. Yes.
Okay. And I lean San Diego State. Don't know that I don't know that I want to fade UConn, honestly. So I'll probably just stay off. UNC Alabama. So I tweeted this leading up to the game, the Colorado State Texas game. I started to tell myself, I haven't heard one fucking person all week. So you were saying how much stuff do you listen to in college basketball? I don't listen to like a ton of podcasts, but I listen to VSiN. So, they have random people come up and talk about it, the host of the shows or whatnot. Do you have a go-to podcast, by the way, for college basketball?
Not a go-to one, because I just listen to everything. I try to get the sample size of everything and see the summation of their thoughts and ideas and see where it aligns with me.
So, group chats, friends, whatever, coworkers get involved at this time of year.
Yeah.
I didn't hear one fucking person say the word Texas. Not one person said the word Texas. And it scared me. Now, I tailed Greg's rat shit POD of Colorado State. I made him a funny graphic. That's okay. I made plenty of rat shit bets. I'm only joking. But I was like, man, nobody fucking talked about Texas. Who number 2 on that list is? Fucking Alabama. So Alabama was 9.5-point favorites against College of Charleston. And I don't even really know that anybody was really all over College of Charleston. I don't know where you stood on that game. I don't know where Staker Greg did. But, I mean, I'm assuming they were probably on Charleston. But I was like, 9.5 is kind of a lot. Charleston is a smaller school that people know. And I don't hear anybody talking about Alabama. I did not profit on the game. I stayed off. And then I struck. And I got my Bama unit. So against Grand Canyon, I took Alabama first half. And the only reason I did this is because, again, nobody respects Alabama. Grand Canyon felt like a trendy dog, which surprised me because they were just a trendy dog. Well, I don't know that's surprising, so I'll retract that comment. But I took them on the first half. They won 38-30. It got very sweaty there for a second. And then, in all fairness, I do think Grand Canyon probably could have covered that game at least. It was
they fell apart too.
Yeah, it was a really weird ending. So I'm not really praising Alabama here. But I have to say, if there is a game on the board where my basketball brain feels so confident about one side, it's that North Carolina can beat Alabama. The problem I'm having is I also felt like UNC was the most disrespected one seed in a while.
By far.
Really. So now they've woken up because they fucked everybody on Michigan State. Everybody was on Michigan State.
Yep.
Now they've got everyone's attention, I think. But I don't know what to do with either team. I think when it's all said and done, I can't see North Carolina losing to Alabama. I don't necessarily see UNC making it much further. I definitely don't see them winning at all. But I can't see them beating Alabama. I think the most contrarian play in the Sweet 16 might be Alabama. Am I wrong or am I right?
The most contrarian, I think that would be probably the initial gut sharp play, if you would. I don't know if it'd be contrarian to bet Alabama.
Okay.
I do agree with you though. Is
4 down to 3.5 at FanDuel, but it's 4.5 on BetMGM. But what are your? Would you like a job at CTESPN? Very funny. Everyone, yes, Cuddlebutt. That's what I'm getting at. It's a long-winded way of me saying everyone's on UNC, nobody's on Alabama. I don't necessarily want to do it for that reason, but that's where my head's at in this game. So, what are your thoughts?
I will say, so something I failed to acknowledge correctly in the first weekend was where the games were played. Just the stadiums in relation to like the actual schools. I didn't bet St. Mary's. It was really just a hard play when I talked about them against Grand Canyon. That game was played in Spokane, Washington, which is home of Gonzaga, which is St. Mary's biggest fucking rival. And if you watch that game, the entire fucking crowd wasn't just pro Grand Canyon. It was so fucking anti St. Mary's. It was disgusting. Just any bad thing that St. Mary's did, everybody was cheering as loud as they fucking could. So for why I mentioned that was for Alabama to come back from 5 down with I think 4 or 5 minutes left and to cover by 9 points, to win by 9 points in a pro essentially Grand Canyon crowd. That's pretty impressive to me. They're also a cross country in Spokane.
Good point.
So that did impress me, and in North Carolina, they actually played in Carolina. They played in Charlotte. So they played a really bad Michigan State team, a really bad team. Yep. One of the things that has been talked about all year and something I did not think about when I played the under, which was a shit wager. Baycott and RJ Davis and even Ingram, they did whatever they wanted inside. Their inside of the Michigan State defense is just ass. It's so bad. I'm not saying Bama's is much better, but they have an offense that could push North Carolina to do uncomfortable things. They have an offense that can sustain enough offense to make UNC uncomfortable outside of running their slow-paced offense. So I did initially like Bama. So probably my worst bet of the weekend was the Bama Grand Canyon over. It lost by 40 points. It went under by 40. I'm not exaggerating either. It went under by 40 fucking points.
Love that.
It has the same fucking total. And I want to go over, DJen. UNC hasn't touched this total. They haven't sniffed this high of a total all year with the opening line. It's at 173. And I know it's Bama respect, but I want to go over. They
wow.
Dude.
North Carolina totals in the last 5 games, 143, 134, 145, 148, and then FSU was 158. Wow.
And now what does this line at?
But North Carolina has gone over for the last 5 games. So they're an over team. But this total is at 173.5. You're right. They haven't come close to that. The highest total I'm seeing is 164 against Kentucky.
And I don't know if I think that went over.
It did.
To have a total set 9 points higher against Bama, who just went under by 40 points. I know it's Bama, but they just sailed on it. It makes me want to go over. Something I've talked about all year is North Carolina's gotten really lucky. I know they have a good 3-point defense, but they've gotten really lucky from teams just shooting a really bad 3-point percentage against them in open looks. Mm-hmm. The one thing that Bama wants to do is shoot 75 threes a game. So I do think after last week and against Grand Canyon, who actually matches up with them kind of physically and athletically, which North Carolina does not, I think Bama can score a fuck ton from beyond the arc. And I'm not saying that Bama can stop UNC enough defensively, but I think this soars over. So I want to take the over.
Well, I love looking at splits. Again, if anybody's watching for the first time, W Ernesto, first time chatter. I don't let the splits dictate my play very often, but I do like to acknowledge them. And just as I was saying, like, oh, I think that the over in the UConn San Diego State game might be contrarian because in my dumbass brain, that matchup screams defense. And then I look at it, 85% of the tickets, 77% of the money is on the over. So I'm wrong. Right. In this case, you've got only 34% of the bets on the over, 37% of the money on the over. So I would agree with you in that sense that that's very high. When it's Bama, it's kind of on par, but North Carolina, clearly, they just saw a total two games ago in the fucking 135 range. That's insane. And they just went under. So I'm with you. I think that I got to tell you. Oh, wait, you know what? That's weird. Oh, never mind. Sorry. I got to tell you, though, if I'm being honest, part of me wants to go back to not respecting UNC and just press the button on Alabama money line.
Dude,
is that a bad idea?
So I don't know why, but I just really don't like UNC as a school. I don't know. I don't know. I literally don't know why. I know why I hate Duke. Like, I know why Greg hates Duke and his reasons. I don't know why I hate UNC. I think it's Roy Williams and just the way he coached in his fucking final years or whatever the reason. I don't like him. I've never liked him. Armando Bacot, when he wears that pine cone in the back of his head, it's so weird to me. He wears his head in like a net that looks like a pine cone, and it looks like a little stinger on like a little alien. And it always gives me weird vibes. Anyways, I don't personally. I wouldn't care if it's square. If I had to pick a side or square, sharp, contrarian, whatever, I would play Bama just because I just don't like UNC. I've seen them a lot this year, and they beat good ACC teams. I don't know, man. I just don't like them though.
All right, enough said. I'm going Bama.
Yeah, and I would take Nate Oates as a coach over Hughley, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Whoever.
W Raid from Betting News. What's going on? Shaggy Bets, Betting News. Everybody saying mid-major's handsome. W. My wife would not approve. Fuck. I don't really like Nate Oates, to be honest with you. I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Yeah.
But I'm not a big Nate Oates. Didn't he like try to defend Brandon Miller?
I think that's why I don't like him as a person because he did, and he was pretty Hubert Davis. Thank you, Knicks fan.
Hubert Davis.
He did defend Brandon Miller when there was like no information and no set ruling out yet, but I think he's a good coach to get this program where it has.
He's a little baby like Greg. All right, good stuff. Let's keep moving. I'm getting fired up. I might press some buttons fucking tonight. All right, here's one where I feel like I'm walking into a buzzsaw.
Before we move on, I will say the Thursday slate is probably my least favorite day of the day. So if you think I've been passionate so far, I've had good takes, Friday, baby.
It's not even really that you've had great takes. It's more so that you've kind of you're the voice of reason of what I need to hear. If that makes sense.
It's all about absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so Illinois, Iowa State. I am this is the just setting the stage for everybody. We have got Illinois opening as a 3.5-point dog. I didn't see it was 3.5. I thought it was 2.5, but they're down to 1.5. So it looks like money's pouring in on them. 84% of the money on the money line. Tickets are split. Money's coming on Illinois. So you could say for everybody out there, because people always get sharp and contrarian wrong. Illinois, by definition, sharp.
Yes.
This scares me. This scares me a little bit. And here's the reason why. I understand that a lot of people like and respect Iowa State. And up until this point, I feel like nobody, at least from the people I follow on Twitter and whatnot, and our little gambling Twitter community, whatever, I feel like nobody really respected Illinois. I cannot really take credit for anything because I felt like I did respect them. I thought about taking them to win it all at one point when I was adding another team to my arsenal. I waited and I made that team our Arizona, which I feel very good about. But I thought I missed a really good number on Illinois. And I was talking to Greg and Steak about it at the bar. And I was like, I'm so fucking pissed off. They look great. These guys on Twitter talked me off because they were like, interior defense or some other bullshit. I don't know.
You don't care
and
about.
I was like, I was like, I could have got him at like 25-1. And Greg's like, what do you think they are now? I'm like, I don't know. They're probably fucking 10-1. And I pull it up. They're 30-1 to win it all right now, Illinois.
So they're worse odds when there's less teams.
So the worst odds are less teams, but the issue is the teams that they have to face because of the draw that they have.
Of course.
So they have to beat UConn, right?
Yeah, but they had to beat UConn before, right?
Yeah.
So don't give me that.
Right. And they have to beat Iowa State, which Iowa State's really good. So I'm starting to wonder if now Illinois played so well in their first 2 games. They burned everybody again that had Morehead State. I had fucking Duquesne like an idiot. But I'm wondering, do they just beat up the little guys? So now they're playing Iowa State, who, again, I feel like everybody loved. But now they're like, ooh, Illinois is like the flashy new, like the new hot chick that just moved in town in school. Like everybody's got eyes for her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if everybody's going to get burned pouring their money in on Illinois, and if this might be in some way, shape, or form a nightmare matchup for them. Because from what I understand, I think Iowa State has a pretty good defense. On that note,
so they just from last game, they took over the number 1 defensive efficiency, like in almost every aspect, from Houston. So number 1 overall.
That's good to know. So 146.5. The total is down a full point to 145.5. And I would say that is interesting to me because I think your average person would say, fuck it, give me over 146, 145.5 with a team like Illinois, who is doing nothing but putting up 80, 85 points a game. So I don't know what to do. I like Illinois, but I am a little concerned that Iowa State might just smother them. So what are your thoughts?
So I have bet Illinois the last 2 seasons. The first one, it was
to win it all.
Sharpest, no, in specific the rounds that they lost specifically.
Oh, gotcha.
in this fucking day, in this fucking tournament. So I remember exactly because there's probably a lot of idiot bettors like me that did the same thing. The first one was against Miami 2 years ago. They were 3.5 point dogs. Miami was on their darling run. Completely shit the bed. They scored like 45 fucking points. They were so fucking bad offensively. The following year, I forgot who they played, but it was the same fucking story. Their defense is amazing, and they scored like 50 fucking points, again, to lose. But this year, they have a better defense, but now they have an offense that can put up at least 70 a game on average against an Illinois team that, yeah, they score 90 points a game. Their defense is really, really bad. I know they beat Morehead State. I had Morehead State in that one, but their athleticism just ran them out of the gym, which fair enough in the second half. It kind of happens. Against Washington State, you can argue Washington State should not have been there because Drake just, again, another team that crumbled in the first round. They were up and they just could not score to win the game, which a lot of people had Drake. Mm-hmm. So Washington State was just not a good draw for them. I'm sorry, it was a great draw for Iowa State because they manhandle them. But what I will say is Iowa State started – and Washington State actually has a pretty good defense, but I want to get this right just for sure. Iowa State was like 2 of the first 18 fucking shots, I think, but I'll confirm it here in a second, against Washington State, and they still put up like 70 points or 65 points, which is really fucking hard to do. Oh, I mean, I don't have to say anything else.
That's kind of funny. Sorry.
No, that being said, though, Illinois, Terrence Shannon Jr. is probably the best overall player left in this draft. He is NBA ready right now. He can walk on to not walk. He probably can't start, but he could play for some NBA teams right now, tomorrow, tonight. But people love offense. People love fucking offense. Mm-hmm. And at this point in the tournament, when it's been all chalk so far, and all people have seen an offense, and they've just seen these athletes just running over these little kids, these junior varsity players, as you put it. Mm-hmm. They're now seeing the best defense they've seen all year, including against Purdue. Including against all the other teams they played in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. Iowa State is the best defense they'll play all year, and I do not think they're ready for the physicality. Because not only is Iowa State strong enough to defend them, but they're also fast enough athletically to keep in front of Shannon.
So, Iowa State or the under? Iowa
Cyclones.
State. Okay, good enough for me.
Because what I've seen, and sorry, last note, for this game, what I've seen from Illinois, they were down by like 10 or some shit against Tennessee or one of the road games. One of those teams that started fouling down by 10 with 3 minutes left. I fucking hate that. For an underbetter, I cannot do it again. I hate it. Because I was on the right side and they just fucking extended the game and it was just free goddamn points and I just cannot do it.
Okay.
So
fair enough. Okay. I'm glad to hear you say that. Because it kind of just, I don't know, makes me feel like my read on where people are in this game, or at least where what these teams are trending is kind of accurate. And at least I always tell bettors, like, I don't want to tell people what to bet, but I want you to at least check yourself before you press a bet.
Yeah.
Like that's what I need to hear to check myself. Cause I don't think I'm truly respecting Iowa State's defense and the fact that Illinois hasn't sniffed anything like that yet.
Nothing.
So, okay, let's get into Friday. NC State and Marquette. We're seeing 6.5. The opener, it's kind of staying flat. Curious to see where it looks like NC State's just a little bit of a trendy dog. A lot of money are going to be on the tickets, but that's just the way it is, I think, in this time of year. So it's nothing crazy there. I can't fade NC State, unfortunately. I think, gun to my head, Marquette's the right side. I just want NC State. I thought Golke and DJ Burns are like the two most fun players, like storylines. What's that?
Tominaga, your guy.
Oh, I know. Tominaga was cool. Fucker.
Yeah.
But I guess where I'm at with Marquette is another one of those teams where I just feel like I can't really get on the right side of. I didn't really respect them. But granted, when I started to watch them a lot, it wasn't when Kolek was involved and like the rest of their team. I know they have that guy, Cam Davis, Cam Jones. So, and he's very good. But I felt like they were living and dying by the three, and I didn't really respect much else of their team. And then, sure enough, they're at this point. I did spite bet them to win it all, like 35-1. I certainly don't want that to happen, but it's like a just in case I'm like really, really off on this team, which I feel like I might be. So we all have these teams, and Creighton is another one, although we'll get to it later, but I'm going to throw that out the window. I'm probably going to fade Creighton. I don't think I can bet NC State here in good conscience of just how Marquette always fucks me. I want NC State to win this game. Do you think there's a chance in hell they can win this game?
There's a chance. I don't think they do.
You don't think they do? Okay.
But
well, yeah, clearly there's a chance. They're not a 15-point dog. They're a 6.5-point dog. So
right. Well, yeah, I didn't mean so more so that, but yeah. What I will bet is I already locked it in is NC State for first half. This is kind of similar to my Kansas bet in the first half. Kansas, I won't go too much into that game, but
okay.
What we did know was that Kansas was on a short bench and they just could not run with Gonzaga for 40 minutes. But there was a full game short spread. So what that told me was Kansas was going to keep it close for some point. In my head, I was like, well, if they're going to keep it close, it's got to be for at least 20 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I'll ride and die with the first 20 minutes. I was lucky. Hunter Dickinson hit a great three. That guy missed a free throw.
Yeah.
All the first half bets cashed. It was amazing. That being said, the Marquette 2-point defense is really, really bad. So I know DJ Burns. That guy is just a lovable big old panda. He's so smooth in the inside with his feet, bro. It's amazing to watch. His touch on the inside as a 280-pound man is just so nice to watch. Mm-hmm. And the issue is, not only is he nice to watch, but they also have a guy named Mohamed Diarra, just a lanky motherfucker who's going to eat up rebounds and play the glass defensively really well. And Marquette, they have the guy Iguodaro. He's a 6'10", 6'11" lanky guy, not physically endowed, whatever. He's not very strong. He's more so tall, and his defense is more based off of just his lankiness. Mm-hmm. Against DJ Burns, I think he eats him alive early, and I think that the guard advantage for Marquette doesn't show up until the second half. That's where I expect the athleticism of Marquette just to kind of take over. But I think that if you want to call it Cinderella run, because they're not a mid-major team, so they're not technically like a Cinderella, NC State. But this darling run of NC State and DJ Burns, I think they come out early, and their advantage is inside and slow-paced game, which I think shows up early. And Shaka Smart, the better coach, makes adjustments at the half and then takes over the game in the second half with the athletes.
Okay, I like that. I'm a little scarred with NC State first half because that was my last POD. I had a -3.5 against Oakland. And they were up 5, and Oakland hit a shot with 1 second left. So that was fun.
Did they get hooked?
Yep, got hooked.
You know what's funny is the full game got hooked on NC State bettors too, which makes me like this even more.
Yeah, good point. Oh, I'm happy to go back to it because I watched that game, and look, I'm not going to say like, oh, it was the only reason it even had a chance is because of Golke hitting crazy threes, because that's just what Oakland does. So it's not like it's an excuse by any means.
That was the game plan.
But I think he had 3 in the first half. But I like what I saw. I liked what I saw from NC State for the most part. I mean, they were in control. Yeah. They went up like 17-9, and for the most part stayed in control till the very end. So I'm good to attack them in the first half. I don't really have a lean on the total. But I'm good on that game if you are as well. So NC State first half, I might tail you on that one.
Yeah, first half. And again, one of the reasons why I went first half on this one, which I always do, they're not a great shooting team. And as a dog, if you want to cover, you have to be able to make shots, at the end of the game. I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. And that probably pushes over at the end of the game just for shit free throws from Marquette. So I think that's, in my head, that's how I played it out.
Fair enough. All right, Purdue and Gonzaga. I think that Gonzaga-Kansas first half was maybe some of the best basketball I saw all weekend.
Phenomenal basketball.
Okay, would you agree? Like, I mean, there was a lot of it was pretty chalky, and I know, there was a back and forth conversation with Steak put out a tweet that, like, it was kind of the first round was kind of ass, and they're like, "What do you mean? You must have not profited on the favors." Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But like, you would look up, and the better teams were kind of out by big margins, and you would kind of lose interest in most of these games. You knew going into it that this was going to be a good game, and I thought with the way Gonzaga came out, I was like, "Holy fuck!" Like, they might run away with this. Kansas responds and makes like their next 7 field goals. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, Kansas woke up. They're legit. Just a game of runs, blow for blow. I mean, it was an awesome first half.
Mm-hmm.
Overall in that game, I mean, I don't really know to give credit to Gonzaga or for maybe defense or whatever, or to kind of, just say Kansas got cold. I mean, I think they were like 5 of 21 or something in the second half at one point.
Oh, yeah.
But I thought Gonzaga looks like a team that is just like really clicking. Everything is in sync. And I don't even think I'm that big of a Nembhard guy, but man, when he's on, he's fucking on. And
he's smooth offensively.
He's so smooth. I will say that because I put a tweet out there and there was some good back and forth in the comment section. I was like, he just has a little bit of the Roach, the guy for Duke.
Jeremy
it's like,
Roach.
I watch him play and I'm like, he's a good basketball player, but he's also so passive. And I don't know, like, I get it. You're a point guard. You should be a facilitator and you don't have to take over. You should get the other guys involved. But like, it's college basketball. So like, if you're the guy, you're the guy. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Nembhard has, big or high expectations and whatnot. And for me, like, he just doesn't have that like killer instinct. But when his vision, his IQ at times is off the charts and he makes Gonzaga, because none of the other guys really impressed me, but they all are like so good together cohesively as a team.
Yeah.
That was a team where after I watched them play, I was like, I don't want to fuck with Gonzaga. That's what I told myself. Now, I didn't know who they played in the next round because then I also watched Purdue and Utah State at the bar with Steak. And Steak is a fucking Purdue better to win it all. And I hate it so much because I get it and I think he might have something there. I don't like watching Purdue. I don't like the way Edey is officiated, but I'm not going to have that conversation with you right now. I just wanted Purdue to lose. But as I watched Purdue and Utah State, I said to myself, I don't know who's going to beat this team. So looking at this matchup, looking at this game, I don't think Purdue's going to lose. I think Purdue's going to win. But now do I think they can cover 5.5? I don't know. I think it's going to come down to the last minute. Do you have a play in this game?
Not yet, but okay. I want to be in my head. On Saturday we saw all over Twitter that everyone was fucking bitching. Every fucking page was bitching, right? Not a single dog covered. Not a single dog won. Mm-hmm. Maybe I think Oakland covered, and everyone was bitching on Saturday, right? So what happened on Sunday? We saw everybody bet dogs with that knee-jerk reaction and still get their dicks kicked in. And what I think now is people want to still jump on dogs, and I think that's okay to do. But I think in one of the bigger dogs in Gonzaga that just won by 30 points and won by 50 in the first round, I do not think this is the dog to jump on. You said it. Edey is just – I said it was Terrence Shannon, but the most dominant – he's prime Shaq right now in the NBA. Edey is in college basketball. You cannot defend him. There's nothing you could do that's going to stop Edey from getting at least 20 points a game unless you literally take out his knees. He's too good offensively. He is too dominant defensively. And unless you shoot 50% from three and make 14 threes like San Diego did, I don't see how Gonzaga can keep up. Because Gonzaga's offense is what people want to see. That's what they want to back, right? They want to back offense, especially with dogs. They want to back dogs who can score. Mm-hmm. Nobody likes Purdue still. They've been dominant in every game. And yeah, they get shit calls against Edey, but they still win by 40 outside of that. When Edey didn't play the last 12 minutes against Utah State, and they still won by 40.
Oh, God.
So their backups are getting confidence. Their guards are getting confidence in making those tough shots when the game's close.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was 24-23 Utah State in the first half. And what happened was the guards made 2 consecutive threes, and then Trey Kaufman, right? I don't care if you know who that is. It's just not Zach Edey, went on an 8-0 run by themselves and put Utah State away in the first half and just put them away for the game. So it wasn't Edey, it was the rest of the team.
You're right. He attracts a lot of attention. It's kind of like when when DJ Burns gets the ball down low. I feel like he has a little Jokic in him. He's constantly looking for the next guy. Edey is so hard to stop, so I think he kind of thinks about scoring a little bit. Scoring first maybe, but they couldn't stop him, and I think Utah State got like four fouls in the first like 3 minutes of the game, and they were hitting some shots, but then they just looked totally lost on offense. Then you're right, Purdue was just clicking. So I was like, this is just the well-oiled machine, and I don't know who's going to stop it. So I can't get there. Name a bigger Purdue stand than mid-major Matt. Steak. I don't even know. Matt, do you have any investment in Purdue to win it all?
They're one of my 6 teams who are all fucking still in play, by the way.
Wow, that's impressive, actually. 6 out of 16. Look at you. Hopefully it doesn't go like Brian Kirshner when he had 3 golfers going into Sunday, and they finished like 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and Scotty Scheffler won. You don't have UConn, and UConn is a Scotty Scheffler.
I do not. I don't have the lowest juice team as one of my 6. So make that make sense.
Okay, so what is your bet in this game? Because the total also is 154. A lot of tickets, a lot of money on that over. It doesn't really look like it's moved much. It's moved up half a point.
What's funny, D-Gen? Sorry to interrupt you. They played early this year. It sailed under. They scored 136 when the total was 153. Now Gonzaga just scored 90. Purdue just scored 106, and the total moves up 1 point. I don't care if it's March. That seems not high enough in my opinion. And what I feel based off of gut reaction, I feel like people want to jump to that over. But if you're telling me, my gut tells me Purdue wins and they dictate tempo and pace. If that happens, it goes under. Because Gonzaga, if they run with Purdue and allows Edey to just score 30 and 20 on the boards, they don't have a chance. They have to limit Edey and limit possessions. They have to be efficient.
Can I tell you what this matchup reminds me of? It reminds me of UConn San Diego State last year. I want so badly to believe in the dog. And I think that Purdue just kind of manhandles them.
One team is just in every aspect, just more dominant.
Yep.
Okay. Good example.
Thank you. 2 more games left. Excited to talk about them. Houston and Duke. Most people know that I have Duke to win it all. You just clapped your hands. I feel like you might be excited.
Yes.
I think that I hate this. I don't know where I stand. I like Duke. I don't have a bet on Duke. I'm already invested in Duke. I'll happily stay off. I like Duke. I shouldn't like Duke. Okay.
We don't have to look at the splits real quick. I have not looked at the splits, but just let's take a little troll.
Let's take a trip to the split club. Reverse splits. So if you are a Houston bettor, I think that's what you want to see. 42% of the bet, 60% of the money. A lot of money on Duke, but there's going to be money on every dog in this situation because it's March. Yeah. All right, look, this is probably, I understand, a basketball person who watches these teams. I don't know Houston very well. I probably know the least. The teams I know the least about in this tournament are Houston and Iowa State. I'm sorry,
the best teams.
I know. The teams that are left, I should say. But I don't know, man. Like the way that I was talking about Purdue and how they look like a well-oiled machine. I'm not going to say that Duke necessarily looks like a well-oiled machine, but they look good. And they've got 2 guys, McCain and Proctor. McCain is fucking balling right now. So, right. I didn't even know he was a freshman, but I guess it doesn't surprise me to hear you say that. But I have to remember, they just played Vermont and James Madison. They're about to go from playing Vermont and James Madison to play Houston. I think that sounds like a bad idea. I also really do respect Houston as kind of being that like that 1 seed I could see winning that nobody's really talking about too much or hasn't talked about. I feel like UNC is getting disrespected and slept on as like a team that nobody really thinks has a chance. I think people are like, yeah, Houston can do it, but I'm going to go bet on somebody else. I haven't seen a lot of people with Houston win it all. If they do,
Nobody.
they had it a long time ago. I don't know that anybody really wanted to.
It's not currently being talked about.
It's not currently being talked about. That scares me. So I do think there is an absolutely a world where Houston can just beat the absolute shit out of Duke. And I have to remember what I said to myself before I watched Duke against Vermont and James Madison. I said they're not very good. I said it for months after watching them throughout the regular season. I have to remember that. Duke is not very good. So you love Houston.
It's my favorite bet of the Elite Eight. Or the Sweet 16, I'm sorry.
Jeez. Also this under. It looks like
it was the under for me. And I think it's Houston.
Damn.
I'm just leaning into Houston.
You think it's their defense?
I think it's their defense. You said it. McCain and Proctor are phenomenal. Roach is a great shot maker. Kind of a pussy, though. He doesn't like being touched. And what do we know from Emmanuel Sharp, Jamal Shed, and LJ Cryer, who's won a national championship as a freshman at Baylor? They're the most physical guard combo in the country. And you're telling me they're going to have to guard a freshman in McCain, a sophomore in Proctor, and a bitch senior in Roach. So if those three guys get clamped, which I absolutely expect them to do, because I just saw them do against Wade Taylor and I keep forgetting the Texas A&M other guy's name. Anyways, a better guard combo in A&M. They clamped them down. They shot terribly efficiently from the amount of field goals they attempted to points scored. I don't care about the free throws, but Houston just allowed, or Texas A&M just shot 50. Yeah, Radford. Thank you. Tyrese Radford.
45 free throws.
And they won the fucking game. They were up by 12 with a minute left, and A&M just pulled something that they've scored 18 points in the minute, which is just insane. It will not happen again. Houston is going to clamp down these young guards and show them who the men are on the court. Kelvin Sampson is a Hall of Fame coach for facing John Shire, who has faced no-name opponents in the first two rounds. I can't stand him. He's being overvalued. What did you say about Kyle Filipowski? What have you said about him this year?
I say he's a bitch.
He's a bitch.
I put a poll up between him and Hunter Dickinson for who's softer.
Oh, what was the results?
I actually don't remember. I think people said Filipowski.
I would have just said yes. I would have made a third option for yes. But yeah, Cornfield, he's fucking soft. He's a little wiener. Yeah, absolutely. And these old ass men on Houston are going to physically dominate these kids on Duke. They're a cute team. They're a cute dog. And on the weekend where everyone wants to start betting dogs again, why not bet the dog that just won by 40 against James Madison, who just dicked down their previous opponent? Houston just let up 95 points, and they won against a phenomenal team in Texas A&M. They fouled out. Get out of their 5 starters, DGen. Do you know how many players fouled out for Houston last game?
4.
4.
Yeah.
And they won the game by 5.
Yeah.
I can't name another team in the country that could do that. I can't.
I can't. No, you're right. I gotta tell you, it's hard for me to not want to take Duke's team total under, because it's kind of just going towards everything I've said about them all year.
Yeah.
They are baby shit soft. McCain can ball, but that's what they have to do. He has to just be on. And I haven't seen him against.
Do you think the kid? Oh, also, last thing I forgot to mention in Houston. Do you know where they're playing this game?
No.
Dallas.
Oh boy.
Pretty fucking close to Houston, man.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I think it's like 4 hours.
I don't know the exact time, but it's a lot fucking closer than Duke, wherever the fuck they are.
Yeah, they're in North Carolina, but all right, I'm with you. So I'm just gonna rip up my Duke ticket, but I'm with you. I think I saw somebody else tweet this. Maybe it was Beeve that they love Houston.
Houston.
It's unfortunate it comes to an end. I really hope, given that Arizona at least makes it out of Clemson, future-wise for me. But I'm glad to hear you say it. I was liking Duke. Felt like I was a duping. Okay. I might have to do Duke's team total under. And we'll go from there. All right, last game on the docket, and then I got to shut it down and eat some dinner. I know it's just late afternoon for you over there in the sunny West Coast. We have got, let me pull up a different screen. We've got Tennessee Creighton. I am fully aware that Tennessee is probably the squared side here, but Matt, I want to sit at the squares table. At the same time, I also acknowledge that Creighton is number 1 on teams I cannot get on the right side of. I can't.
Yeah.
But I like Tennessee in this game because Tennessee just survived. Kind of what I was talking about with Houston. They shot so poorly against Texas. I don't really know that I felt that Tennessee was ever going to lose the game, but the fact that they were still in control, and maybe it has to do with Texas not being very good, maybe.
They're
but
awful.
The fact that they were in control, they never really were going to lose that game.
Agreed.
Showed me that they've got a solid defense, and now they have an offensive game that can that's in a bounce back spot. But what concerns me is the same can kind of be said for Creighton, because Creighton, I watched the first half of that game. I decided to stay off of Oregon. I saw a lot of smart people. I saw Parlay Safari. I heard this morning or yesterday, VSiN talking about all the books were saying Oregon was a huge play. A lot of sharps on Oregon. I wanted to do it. I wanted to hang out with the homies. I texted, I'm going to be the designated driver. You guys have fun. And really, Oregon, I think, outplayed them.
Creighton was the right side. I don't care if it lost. It was the right side.
Yep, and that's fine. I totally am with that stuff. People say there's no moral victories. There's right side, wrong results. That was the right side.
Agreed.
Creighton missed a lot of open shots. That Kalkbrenner guy is annoying as fuck. I like that Brady Shire guy or whatever his name is.
I love him.
But I don't know. I'd rather go with Tennessee in this situation because I think Creighton's got a little Duke in them. I think Creighton's a wee bit soft. Can I eat at the Squares table, or should I just cancel my reservation?
This is my dog, man.
My God.
That's okay. I like the discourse. I'm not saying I'm right or you're wrong.
No. I like it too. I like it too.
In a weekend full of dogs where people want to take dogs, I'm taking the shortest dog in Michael Creighton. They shouldn't be here against Oregon. Oregon should have won the game. They did not. They didn't even cover in overtime somehow because Creighton finally started making threes. You referenced that Tennessee shot awful against Texas, and you're right. But do you know what Texas shot against them?
No.
They shot like 1 of 20 or 2 of 20 from 3.
Oh, my God.
And I know Tennessee has a phenomenal defense, but Creighton just shot like shit against Oregon. So, and Dana Altman, who's the Oregon coach, he's one of the best defensive minds that we've ever seen in March. And it's more so Tennessee is just physically, they're physical. They get guys off the three-point line and they run them off. They scare them long term. I don't think they can scare Creighton off. Last year, we had this same exact conversation with FAU and Tennessee. Do you remember this? I was on this same stream with you. You invited me on. It's okay if you don't. You've had a lot of conversations since then.
No, I don't.
Your best bet of the weekend was Tennessee -5, 5.5 against FAU. They were dominating the first half, crumbled in the second half. Rick Barnes is one of the worst coaches in March of all time.
Yep.
He cannot draw up schemes defensively. I have seen them crumble in second half of games, getting pressed full court. I have seen them not be able to convert full court. I do not. Their defense is always good, but they can never have. They never have consistent offense for me to want to ever lay points with them in this time of the year. I just can't do it. And I know 2.5 points sounds like a lot, or it doesn't sound like a lot. It's one fucking basket. So why would not take the favorite? Why would not take the short money line, right?
Yeah.
If I was DJ, I'm not trying to insult you, but I would not want to lay points. I would just lay the juice in this point for this game. I think that's a very reasonable take to have and to bet off of. And I'm taking the points with Creighton, man. This Tennessee team is so soft. They're going to have to rely on Dalton Connect to score 35 points to keep them in the game because Creighton's defense is also one of the best in the league, and they don't foul ever. And Tennessee, who relies on out physicaling or their physicality and fouling other guys out, it's not going to be Creighton. It will not be. Damn. So it's Creighton for me. I think their 3-point. I think they shoot a decent 3-point margin. Which, if that happens against Tennessee, we saw it with Kentucky. They really struggle to stop guys consistently if they don't start early. So if Creighton ever gets hot, which they ended the game phenomenally against Oregon, I think it kind of carries over to this game. And I just do not want to put money on Rick Barnes.
Not mid-major from the top rope.
Ryan Corfield, I can't reach the top rope. I'm 5'7".
All right. Well, you've checked me with Duke and Tennessee, so I very much appreciate that.
Bama's my SEC team.
I'm gonna take Bama. I think I'm gonna take Bama. I think I'm gonna fucking take it money line. I'm gonna recap it real quick for the viewers. Thank you for everybody for hanging out, Matt. Thank you for doing this again. I really enjoy it.
This is fun always.
So Thursday, you were on Arizona. I like Clemson team total under. San Diego State right now. I think you're on the under.
I would play the under before I play UConn. So yeah.
Okay. I lean San Diego State. I got to tell you, but I probably will just stay away. Bama, I think we kind of both align on. I'm going to go Bama. That's going to be my dog. You like the over, which I agree with there. I was falling in love with Illinois. Steak even said it when I opened up the odds market at the bar, and I went to take him 30 to 1. He said 30 to 1 tells me they ain't winning shit. And I was like, all right, you're probably right. So might be Iowa State there. I like the under. And then Friday to finish it up, you said NC State first half. I think I might join you on that. I like it. I hope they win. You like the over in Purdue?
I would go under, but I like Purdue.
Okay, you would go unders. Oh, right. That's right. Don't mind that either. I kind of see this, like I said, I think it's a UConn San Diego State type of game. I might take Gonzaga team total under. You like Purdue. Houston's your favorite bet. For good reason. Duke is poo-poo soft. Totally down with that. The under is the most least bet. If you look at the splits, it's the least bet total of the weekend. Actually, out of everything, even sides.
That makes sense. Yeah, under is a really strong play too. I believe in Houston, man.
Yep. And you like Creighton. I wanted to eat the Squares Table, Tennessee, but I never eat the Squares Table, so that's why I need to there. All right. Matt, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. At not mid major Matt on Twitter. Go give him a follow. And I hope to hear your baseball takes. We do have a big baseball stream. You are a baseball ball knower. I can't have too much Matt on the stream though, because everybody will get jealous. So I didn't have you in the lineup for tomorrow.
No worries. I've looked at all. So I'm stuck in the CBB Dick Lab.
Okay, but throughout the course of the season, I would love to get inside that baseball brain. So, all right, man. Well, thank you very much. I will talk to you later this week. Have a great night.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. The Mormons suck at basketball. Don't ever fucking bet them again.
We won't retweet that. Don't worry. See you, Matt. All right, guys. I'm shutting it down. Thanks for hanging out. Betting news. Thank you for the raid and the follow. A couple of first-time chatters in here. Ernesto, where the fuck did you go? I'm going to shut it down. We'll be on tomorrow. We got a big stream tomorrow. 10:30 Gate 14, 11 Javon, 11:30 Pete. Big baseball stream. I am balls deep in research, reading a lot of CBS Sports articles. I've got some player futures and some team futures. We will chat tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out. Have a great night. Good luck on your bets.